Well, we've been an early adopter of nocturnal hemodialysis. We've been doing it for over 10 years. We're one of the first 4 or 5 practices in the country to initiate home nocturnal hemodialysis. We've had an interventional nephrology program for over 10 years as well, one of the first practices in the country to do that. It has been our practice's habit to visit the patient at least 2 to 3 times on dialysis each week, so we have for 20-plus years been doing frequent dialysis visits, and I think it's one thing that's responsible for our fistula statistics, which are quite good in terms of fistula at first use and the prevalent fistulas in our dialysis clinics. We also are able to educate the patients. We meet with the patients, have conversations with the patients when we round in the dialysis clinics, and help to have the patients more involved in their care.
Well, the Patient Safety Award that our facility received really is for the whole company, and we were able to pilot a project at one of our facilities, then spread it, a technique of spread, to our whole company. And nothing is done by one person. So what it means to me is it reflects the effective team and team learning that we have in our company, and the kind of the philosophy we have that we can teach ourselves and we can make things better. What we did is we recognized that one of the most important aspects of the dialysis is the interface between the patient and the machine, which is a couple of needles. One of the biggest failures of the technology is the machine will run if the needles are disconnected from the patient, and most of the patient's blood will be on the floor in a very short order of time, and no alarm in the machine will consistently detect that breach. If you think about sitting in a dialysis machine with your arm taped to a couple needles and you can't get up for 3 hours, and your life is in the hands of people you know not at all or vaguely well, who have lots of other tasks to do at the same time. It's not unlike getting an airplane where you meet people whose lives you're trusting your life to their care and professionalism. And many of the things that we've incorporated into our industry have been learned first and foremost in airline safety. In the wintertime, when it's raining and wet outside, we remind people to be careful about falling in the parking lot. We remind everybody at every treatment, besides this issue of uncovering access, about washing their hands. Wash your hands when you come in the unit, wash your hands when you leave the unit, wash your hands after you touch your access to hold the needles, etc. So it just becomes the culture of the organization. When the RPA and the National Patient Safety Foundation surveyed the dialysis providers as to what the most important safety issue was, it was disconnection from the dialysis machine. So this came out of national data. And we found that making the announcement got us where we wanted to go, but we needed staff reinforcement. So we put the CEPT in that was announce, check, remind, document, and then just continue to recycle that. As the staff members checked their blood pressures and confirmed the patient's condition, they would also make sure the access was uncovered, that the needles were in place, that the bandages were dry, and that the lines were secure. So it became part of what you did when you came to the patient's chairside. You reminded them about their access. And patients, by and large, will defer to that recommendation because it becomes the background. For the most part, we've moved the whole process to a much more favorable, prevalent performance.
Well, I was very honoured by receiving the RPA Distinguished Service Award. The RPA has been very important to me over the years. I've always felt very strongly about its importance in representing the nephrologists of the United States, and in doing so, if I may say so, in an increasingly responsible fashion. Getting involved in the RPA was really a process. That's what it was. I had colleagues who were interested and had supported the idea of appropriate representation by nephrologists in examining reimbursement. I think when I think back in my later stages when I was president of the RPA, our interactions with Congress and with CMS and to a lesser extent FDA were at a level far different, I think, from today. There was a time when the RPA was looked upon as representing the financial integrity, the financial gain of being a nephrologist. I think that emphasis has changed. It's not to say that reimbursement is not very important and maximizing what's legal is not very important, but the efforts of the RPA, especially in education and making practical what the individual physician cannot do, that I find extremely impressive.